Welcome back to Personal Productivity Using Technology with Dr. X. So last time we started a brief introduction on tables, the smart Excel tables that are quite different than Microsoft Office tables. They represent a set of similar data, a range in Excel that starts from a cell and ends in another cell. So we started looking at these and the additional features of Excel tables. So our objectives continued would be to start using these additional features of an Excel table. Excuse me. We will sort data within our table, filter data, and use references in order to handle some simple calculations with our tables data. And let's get to work. So here's what I did here. Okay, because we were fooling around with these large sets of data, and I had to create a table that I couldn't change the style of it. It made me think that I was doing something wrong. And so, because some of you are following the videos and you're doing the same actions as I'm doing, which help a lot in your capstone labs, you may have had the same problem. So the problem was that I was using the view and I was freezing different panes, and that messed up my table structure, and I couldn't change the style of my table. So this is not big harm done, because I can always go back to blackboard.ju.edu and download the document that we just downloaded, E04C1 houses, and download the original Excel spreadsheet. And now I can go back without having any frozen panes and create my table. And now I can play around with the different styles, and you can see that now I can easily apply another style. So let's use orange or whatever you'd like to use. I mean, lavender is a great color as well. Okay, so that's one thing with the different table styles. They help us visualize table data better. But I also started talking about these great menus that you get in your header row. And as you can see in the additional, in this additional tab where you have your table tools, you've got the header row checked. Now, if you uncheck it, we are missing all these great features. But I'm going to check it back up and have a nice header row, which I can use now to sort data. So I can sort data in an increasing or decreasing order, and to demonstrate, I'll do a sorting. I can sort by color if I have multiple colors, and also decreasing order, largest to smallest. So that's one way. My data isn't changing at all. I am just using this sorting filter, and as you can see, this nice menu changes and it shows this increasing, that my data is sorted increasing. So that's one very nice way to sort data. Now there's a different way of sorting data that are not even in a table, data that are in a symbol range from A1 up to H90. Okay, so you have all these features, the sorting and the filtering that you see in these nice little menus up here, and you can see the filters, number filters, yada yada yada. You have all of these in the data tab, sort and filter. So you can apply sorting and filtering to any Excel data, even simple data that don't look as fancy as a table. Okay, but the table has even more features. I mean, all these tables tools are not there for nothing. So what I can do is sort by multiple columns. So I already have sort by list price, smallest to largest, and I can add multiple levels, multiple sorting mechanism. Also sort by city, A to Z or Z to A, or even create a custom list. I'm gonna sort by A to Z. So now I have two levels of sorting, and you can see the filter menu is showing exactly that. I can always stop the sorting by, delete my levels of sorting. So I can say delete that level, click OK. Now my data is no longer sorted by list price. So this is really cool. Now I also have filters. One of the biggest filters that I can have is remove duplicates. I don't know how useful this has been in several situations. I mean, several times scientists or economists may be keeping track of data and they may have duplicate records. So if you try to remove duplicates in your whole table, this is going to remove your duplicates. But also I can filter data. So there's all these filters over here, and I can filter data that equal to something. This filter is very similar to the if statement. So if I start filtering, let's say by city, and I say I want to show only the cities that are alpine and American fork, for example, I can uncheck these cities and have only alpine and American fork. I can also use the equals, does not equal, all of these logical calculations that we got a taste of them with the if formulas in chapter 2. So this is fantastic because everything goes together, everything fits together. So like, for example, let's say I want to filter the list prices that are above 500,000, okay? So now if I was going to this checking mechanism, that would be really tough. I would have to, uncheck everything that is below 500,000, okay? That would be quite painful, unchecking all of these boxes, and I could make mistakes. So I could go to the number filter and say, okay, I would like to just show the values that are greater than 500,000, and click OK. And now I only see the values that are greater than 500,000. I am going to get rid of these filters by going to data, clear the filter. And as you can see, I did not lose any data. Okay, this is just a view type of filtering, but it's really handy when I have a large amount of data. And why is that? Well, of course, because I want to be able to see immediately, or to show to my boss immediately, some things like, okay, here are the houses that are above 500,000 that are not selling, for example, and so on and so forth. So a table, I can handle a table like a normal range of data, and I can delete rows and columns or add rows and columns. I can add a column like, let's say, profit. And as you can see, the nice thing with the table is that the new column immediately picks the style that I have in my whole table. It also has the additional menu with filters and sorting mechanisms. So that's a really nice thing. It's very, very easy, a very easy way of manipulating our data and having a structure like this table where I can have all these additional features. So now let's say that we have the list price and the selling price. So the profit that we made would be the calculation. I'm just doing a dummy example here. Selling price minus the list price. Okay, so let's say this would be the profit. So I need to actually do a simple calculation with my table. So how do I do simple calculations with Excel? Of course, equal sign. And then I can use the selling price minus as you can see, there's some weirdness here. When I click on selling price, I no longer have F2 in my cell. I get these weird symbols at and then selling price, which means to Excel that this is a structured reference, and I am going to be picking prices from this selling price column of my table, and I'm going to be picking the corresponding price for each specific row. So it's not much different than the relative references that we've looked at, but it just refers to the whole column without having specific numbers like F2, F3, or F4. It picks the corresponding price of the selling price column minus the list price. And as you can see, very similar reference syntax. So now here's a really nice thing that I have. Okay, I may be in a negative profit because I sold my house less than I was supposed to, but here immediately, without the need of autofill, I get all my calculations, bam, very fast, very immediate, and that's a nice feature of a table. Another nice feature of the table is the total row. So this total row has calculations, has different formulas, and actually it has all the formulas that we've seen in the formulas tab. So you can use any formula. You may recognize this insert function dialog box where we would go ahead and use and search for a specific function. So in this case, let's say I can calculate the average list price. I can also calculate, or I can count numbers, all these different beautiful functions that I used to have in the formulas tab are now in my availability in the total row. I can very much change the title in the total row if I want to, and that's about it. So you can see that you can use all the rich set of formulas that we reviewed in chapter 2 in this Smart Excel table, and you can also have some special rows, header rows, as is our first row in this table, and total rows, as is our last row. So if I don't like this, I'm going to go to no one. So I have all these wonderful options with my table that I don't have with a normal range. Okay, I can always go back to the Excel range A1 up to H91, and nothing will change except that I won't have these additional features. But this is a very nice way of handling large sets of data and pointing out some information, like I said, a price larger than 500,000, all the houses in Alpine, City Alpine, and so on and so forth. So that's it with basic functions and the extra features that a table is offering to us. Next thing we're going to do is look how we can format a range of data or a table. Either way, it doesn't matter, with some nice ways of pointing out information again. But in this at this point, we're not going to filter out information or sort information. We're going to highlight information by using different colors, different fonts, and so on and so forth. So I will see you next time with more cool Excel functions. See you next time.